Hey everyone, welcome to Thursdays at 3. Your host here, Jason Crespin. So glad you're joining us today for Thursdays at 3 here at the Amarillo Little Theater. Today is already Thursday, April 20th. April 20th must also mean that we have a show this weekend. That's right, second weekend of The Father. We have two great guests, ALT Warriors, that will be on our show. But before we get to them, we want to, of course, remind you everything that's going on at ALT this week. And I've got to get to it right away. We want to share, in case you have not heard, we have some sad news to share today. Sadly, one of our own ALT warriors, one of our amazing volunteers, actors on stage and helper backstage, and just dear friend of ours, Brian Scott, sadly has passed away this morning. We want to make sure all of our ALT families know about that. We will get for sure post about any sort of services that will be happening. But our prayers and thoughts are, of course, with Brian and his family. You know, Brian came to ALT first with Hairspray. I remember him auditioning for that show as Mr. Pinky in that production. Of course, since then has turned in great roles in Mary Poppins, A Double Wide Texas Christmas, and even this season was in Guys and Dolls with us. And so so sad, heavy heart today for sure. And just hug your loved ones even more so. Gosh, just what a great guy, great smile that Brian had, and just a great guy. So again, our thoughts and prayers are with Brian and his family, and we'll be sure to get all of the information about his service once we have that information to our ALT families. Um, this weekend, if you've not heard, our ALT Showstoppers, they will be, in fact, they fly out tomorrow. They're competing in Orlando. Very excited for them. They're going to compete this weekend for their show car performance kind of competition. I think I have, let me double check if I have that written down. I don't think I do, but I believe it is, I do. It's Music in the Parks competition. So very excited about that. Break a leg to Michaela and Brandon and all of the showstoppers who are going to be going out to Orlando to compete. We wish you guys all the safe travels, all of the best of luck as you guys perform. Very excited about that. Then, of course, we want to remind you work call. We do have a work call this coming Saturday for the big production of Beautiful. Also, this weekend, if you can, we are looking for people to help us with ushering and concession, is that a word? Concession working, if you will, for the Father. Of course, if you want to usher or concess, I'm just going to say concess. I like concess. It's a new noun, adjective, verb, all of the things. If you want to help us out, definitely let Miss Lissa know, our volunteer coordinator, of course. You can email her there, Lissa at amarillo.littletheater.org, or give us a call, 806-355-9991. Again, the shows this weekend just need to be there for about 30 minutes before for ushering, and then concession starts about an hour after the show starts. We would love your help. Also, like I said, we're going to have a big beautiful work call where we will be building the set and painting all that stuff. That will start on Saturday at 9:30. Even if you can come an hour later or just for an hour at some point throughout the day, let us know. We'd love to have your help. We would like to know if you're coming for lunch so we can get a head count for that. And that way Miss Lissa knows exactly how many people we'll be feeding. And then also on Sunday evening, or I say evening, really afternoon, late afternoon, about 4:30, we will start striking for the Father, taking down the set, putting up furniture, all that stuff, getting that space ready for showcases. So if you can help out with that, that would be great as well. We will gladly feed you. Just if you can help with any of those things, just email Lissa there or give us a call, 806-355-9991, and let us know. We would love your help. Hugh says, that's how GP and I verb that noun, concess, to serve or otherwise provide concessions. There you go. Hopefully Webster's Dictionary will pick that up on how to concess at ALT. I like it. I like it. And then, of course, we're talking about Beautiful. We've been rehearsing Beautiful. We're about 2 weeks away from opening that show. Things are going really well. We got a big rental and wigs, and we're getting costumes and all of things. Very excited about that. And speaking of Beautiful, a week from this Saturday is the Beautiful Gala. That's right. It's going to be a great, fun, fantastic evening. Great special event from our board. This will be on April 29th at 8 p.m. All the way till midnight, of course, at the Derrick Event Center. The attire is 60s, 70s glam. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you've not already decided that you're coming, you should. You, of course, can get your tickets at our box office. Give them a call, 806-355-9991, or visit our website, amarillo-littletheater.org. There are individual ticket prices still available and also tables available. And don't forget, with those tables, I mean, your party of 8 get to that whole table to sit down, have a good time. There'll be light outdoors. There'll be a wine and whiskey pool. It's just going to be awesome. A band called Love Session, open bar from Reed Beverage. So it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic night. So get tickets for the beautiful gala. You are not going to be disappointed in how much fun that's going to be. And then if for some reason you missed out, we want to remind you, last Friday at 5, I announced the 2023-24 season. If you missed that, we want to just give you a quick update. Of course, plays that we will be producing next season include The Play That Goes Wrong, Chemical Imbalance, a Jekyll and Hyde play, Sense and Sensibility, The Boys in the Band, and End of the Rainbow. Musicals for next season include Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Spamalot, and of course, Rent. Very excited about all of those shows. Those do not even include our Academy shows. So tons and tons of great theater coming our way for our 96th season. Season tickets are on sale right now. In fact, they are the same price. We've not gone up on our season ticket prices. However, we will be going up on our public ticket prices. More information to come on that. So now is the time to renew your season tickets, get season tickets. You're definitely going to want to see all of those shows. But before we talk about how fantastic next season is, let's continue to talk about how great this season is. And that's right, we have one more weekend that closes out our Adventure Space series of shows as we present The Father. 4 more shows this coming weekend, of course, all the way through April 23rd. Shows are Thursday at 7:30, Fridays and Saturdays at 8 o'clock, and Sunday matinee, that final Sunday matinee, at 2:30. And we have 2 of our phenomenal actors with us. Welcome to the stage, if you will, Mr. Jeffrey Pickens and Mr. Michael Newman. Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Jeffrey, my name is Jason Crespin. I feel I've asked, after I've watched your performance, I feel like I should just, throughout the interview, remind you who I am and making sure you know exactly.
Good idea. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. Michael, Jeffrey, of course, both of you guys opened last weekend with The Father. Such a strong show. I got to watch it again on opening night. Remind our viewers, just in case somebody's brand new to either Thursdays at 3 or the theater, remind us who you are when you're not at ALT. Of course, you guys have been big volunteers. You know, Michael, you teach for the Academy. Jeffrey, you're on our board. But what do you do when you're not at ALT? Michael, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Michael Newman. When I'm not at the theater, I teach theater for a living. I'm the technical theater teacher for Amarillo High and Tascosa. And then I also teach for the Academy, and I teach for Anderson Model and Talent Agency. Literally just like the theater's just what I do.
Just in all forms and fashion, for sure.
I mean.
Jeffrey, remind us, what do you do when you're not at ALT?
I'm retired. I'm a retired family medicine doctor. So now I just pretend to be a doctor. And I do a lot of volunteering and spend a lot of time in my yard.
Yeah.
That's
And we should
basically
mention
it.
too, this year you wrote and helped with Academy Productions. Of course, you wrote the music for Robin Hood, the
Yes.
rest of the story, and of course have helped with different productions throughout the year. So you guys definitely are involved at ALT heavily, as well as our community for sure. The show, we should mention, Michael, you play an interesting character in this show. Do you tell us a little bit about who you play, and then we'll talk about Jeffrey's character as well.
Okay, I play Paul, which is Anthony's son-in-law, and Anne's husband, depending on what you believe, because there's moments where she says she's divorced. There's moments where she says we're married, that we live in Paris, that I don't exist, that there's a lot of stuff because, you know, everything's, by the way it's written, supposed to be very confusing. So it's up to you to decide if I'm, you know, his son-in-law, if I'm some stranger, if I'm a violent person, if I'm a kind person.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because, you know, it's kind of hard to determine how you want to play something like that when you're not certain when you're reading the script.
Very, very true. I mean, there's so many different kind of interpretations of are these characters really there, or then maybe they're not, you know,
Yeah.
of what the reality is. Jeffrey, you of course are the father of the father. Tell us more about your character.
Well, he's older, probably. Well, the script says he's 80, so and he suffers from, and he's physically healthy for his age, but he has dementia, and there's many different kinds of dementia, but his is most consistent with Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And so his world is very confusing, and the story is told from his point of view, which is why it's confusing for the audience as well.
Sure. And the way it's written, of course, the script is it's not necessarily as linear as some scripts are, or
Right.
there's sections of the show where you think, wait, what is this? And then you realize, oh, what it is, maybe a scene or two later. Um, Obviously, Jeffrey, you knew the script before auditioning, and were excited about these auditions and things like that. What made you really want to audition for this show?
I think because it was just very different. Um, and frankly, not a lot of lead roles come around for people my age. So that entered into it, because those are rare
Sure.
occasions. And it was something I knew something about, having dealt with it for a 40-year career
Yeah.
in medicine. Knowing so many people that deal with it on a daily basis in their families.
Yeah.
It's dementia affects 1 in 9 people in the United States.
Wow.
That's staggering.
Yeah.
So that means it affects them and everyone, all of their loved ones as well.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, well, and you're right. The way that the script was written is so unique that it tells the story where the audience can kind of understand the frustration and the confusion of
Yes.
Anthony, the main character, because of how it's written. And I think it's a strong show. Of course, was made into an Academy Award-winning film several years back, with Anthony Hopkins winning the Oscar, in fact, for playing this role.
Yes.
Frank Langella originated the role on Broadway and won the Tony for that award, or for that performance as well. So the
Yeah,
show
no
definitely
pressure.
has the what?
No pressure. Yeah.
Right? No, yeah, not at all, none at all.
Come
But it
on.
has definitely that pedigree for this type of acting, for sure. Michael, you were not a part of the auditions. You were busy in one act world, and
Yeah.
had your hands in all of that. And then about 10-ish days before opening, you got a call from Peg
Yeah.
Lovett that said, "Hey, we've had an actor that had to pull out. Do you want to do it? Can you do it?" How was that, getting that phone call?
Well, it's kind of frightening, because literally the message I got was, I need your help, please call me. And I was just like, oh God, somebody's fallen or something. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I like get up and step outside my clothes and make this phone call. And, Peg is just like explaining the situation. And I said, well, 2 things. First thing is I have to call my wife and verify that this is okay.
Yeah.
And, Stacy is always supportive. So she was like, yeah, go, that's fine. And then number 2 was, I told her, I was like, look, I sprained my ankle about 2 months ago and I'm still recovering from that. So I'm going to be limping around the stage. She goes, I don't care about that. I'm like, cool, I'm in then. And
Anthony
so
kicked you at some point, and that's where that injury is from, of some sort, right? Yeah, we could just channel it that as a character choice.
I learned the blocking the first rehearsal, kind of
Well, we
walked
should
through.
say your very first thing with the show, in fact, was this photo. I think it was the
Yes,
promo
yes,
photos.
it was.
You had
That
yet
I
to even
hadn't
have a
even read the script
rehearsal.
yet in that picture.
It was like, let's go ahead and take some Globe News pictures before you start rehearsal. So we really
Yeah.
appreciate you bringing clothes from home for that. Thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. She said a blue shirt, and I was like, okay. And so I bring a blue shirt, not even the right color blue shirt.
Yeah.
I was just like, sure, let's go.
But I mean, we won. So thankful that you were able to come in and really, learn this part and learn the blocking, and, with the type of show, it can be certainly confusing. But I saw you that was on I guess a Tuesday that you came in,
Yeah.
and I saw your rehearsal on that Sunday and was like, Michael's good. Like, I think even that night, I think you saved a scene with Jenny that Peg was like, she dropped that line, but Michael picked it up. You're good. And I was like, it's like as if you were within the show longer than just a couple of days at that point. So
I'm surrounded by some really good actors. It makes it look easy.
I love that. I love that. One of our past alums says, Tavy Scholl says, "Hey, Jeff and Michael, love you both and miss seeing you on stage."
What's
Aw,
up,
Tavy
Tavy?
Scholes, we love you so
Yeah.
much. Notice he didn't say love you, Jason, just said love Jeff
Yeah,
and
there
Michael.
you go.
So good to know.
I mean,
Good to know,
but look who
Tavy.
you're talking to, Jason. So
Wow. True. I can't compete. I know, but at least third. I could have gotten third place in that, love fest, but no. Fine.
You know, I always
Oh,
wanted
David Walsh
salsa.
says, hoping to see the show. He's actually coming in town this weekend to work on the set. So yes. So David, I bet
nice.
you'll have time to see the show. Send in some hearts. Love that. Michael, with the show and with stepping in like this, how well, actually, I was gonna ask you both. Remind me, have either one of you worked with Peg Lovett in any capacity beforehand? You had, Michael? I couldn't remember.
I had not.
Okay. My last time working with Peg was, and I'm going to age myself, was 2004. And she directed The Dresser at Amarillo College. And I played, guess what? An 80-year-old man who has difficulty remembering things.
No way!
Yes.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And so since then, you hadn't worked with Peg since then. And then Jeffrey, you said you've not worked with her at all.
No.
So tell me about how was it, one, working with her after such a long time, and then Jeffrey working with a brand new director?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Well, working with a brand new director is not. I mean, there's always little differences, but she's my 10th director, so it's not like I haven't done that before.
Right, right.
And every director is different. They all have a little different style. Some are very detailed, and some are like, "Hey, just do your own thing, and then I'll fix it." And one thing I'll say about Peg is she's always in a good mood, and she's always supportive, and it was fun. She made it fun.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. All I'd ever, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say all she ever gets is these screwball comedies, but she did do Steel Magnolias too, which was an amazingly successful show for the theater. So that was pretty serious drama.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was fun, but yeah, she's my 10th director in 14 seasons. So
oh, that's so fun. That's
Nice.
so fun. I love that. I love that. Mike, what about you? What with kind of getting to experience that side of Peg as a director again?
It was kind of a flashback. I mean, she's always been a real supportive kind of director. Like Jeff said, she's one of those people who's gonna let you be creative. She's a nice mix of those styles. Like I have a very descriptive idea of what I want to see, and I'm going to see that. And then, just go do your own thing. It's a nice mix of, I know what I want to see. Let's see what you bring to the table, and we'll kind of mix the things together. And it's very interesting. And what I appreciate, considering the situation, is she very much let me do my own thing.
Yeah.
Like it would have been very easy to say, well, we've been doing it this way, so do it that way, which would have been fine too. I mean, you're an actor, you get that happens. But
Sure.
She was very supportive of saying, you make the decisions that you're going to make. And, and I will not forget that first night I sat there, she said, he's not who we've been working with, and just be prepared for that. And, I was like, made it sound like I was going to come in like Godzilla and just like destroy everything.
Just tear down the set and flip tables. Yeah.
Yeah. But
now I want to see that show too. I want to see you as Godzilla in The Father. I think that'd be great. Great.
I also wish to see this show. But no, she was very supportive of me making choices, and we're working with great actors. I mean, Jeff was great to work with. Jenny, I've never worked with Jenny before, so that was kind of fun to work with a new person there.
Yeah.
Work and, just get to know those people and play off of them, because you can be a great or a terrible actor. It doesn't matter. But if you're not working against somebody who's going to throw it back at you, you're going to have problems. And I love this because I'm working with people who, you throw something at them, they'll throw it right back at you. And I love that.
Oh, it's like having a good tennis partner or a good, where
Absolutely.
bounce that back and that energy back and forth for sure. As you mentioned, of course, Jenny there was as Anne, Sarah Buchelman making her ALT debut, really her acting debut as Laura, doing a great job. Bobby Schaefer as the man, Jackie Llewellyn as the woman, and then of course we have we've talked about your performances as well, but then we have two movers, if you will, that kind of are throughout the show, and they've done a great job. Colton Harada, Keegan Reed. And then we should also mention Connie Kennedy as the assistant director for this production, working so hard and helping Miss Peg with all the elements of the show. The one thing I also love about Peg is how much she brings, not only of course as a director, but almost as a set designer as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Peg will bring in a box of things. She'll find something. She'll all of a sudden, after 2-3 weeks, the set is decorated and it's all been Peg that's found these knickknacks or things that she wants for her show, which I think is fun. You guys have definitely had some great audiences that have come in and talked about the show. We have a couple of the reviews that we wanted to show. This one here that says, loved every minute, confusing, thought-provoking, sad, a little humor, but setting was great. Thank you, from Linda. The father was excellent, very entertaining. Amadin, I don't know how I said that name. Emmadine. Wow, I'm old. I don't know that one. Great, thanks.
No, it's fine. I'm a teacher. I
was gonna say, yeah, you see names all the time. Good job. Cindy said, I thought it was a great show. The acting was superb. Another great review was this show is incredibly special. It's one of those shows that changes the way you look at things. It deals with some tough ideas, but it completely opened up a new perspective to me, a new way of thinking about and understanding the experience that others go through. It was so great. Get your tickets from Hugh. And it's true, you guys, we mentioned this early on, but different people who see the show will have a different experience, of course. With the statistic that Jeffrey gave, 1 of 9 people, we will have people in the audience that have either had family members or know somebody or caretakers or some element. How has that been for you guys as they go through the line and with different experiences, whether they that it's therapeutic for them, whether that it's something that they didn't know that they needed. I think it's hard for them, of course, to come see the show, but everyone who has come is been thankful that they've been able to see the show and kind of see, a different perspective of that. Jeffrey, for you, how has that been for people who have come through the receiving line?
Well, I sit up front, and I've had a lot of people who were hesitant to see the show that were friends of mine, and I get that. I'm not gonna, but catharsis is good for people, and facing those things can be very helpful to help you move on. So just, yes, I'm sure it was very difficult for a lot of those people, but in the line, when those people, we had a lady come through the line that had just lost her mother in February, I think, after taking care of her for 17 years with dementia.
Wow.
And of course, she was weeping a little bit, but she thanked me. She thanked me, and she probably thanked everybody as she went through the line. And I said, "We've accomplished something here. It's one thing to make people laugh, and that's a lot of fun, and to hear that laughter. It's another thing to really touch their hearts with something creative like this. It's a very different form of art when you reach their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a beautiful way of putting it.
Mm-hmm. Happy to be part of it. So
yeah, Michael, what about you?
It's always like trying to think of the best way to word what I'm trying to say here. It's always rewarding to see people react to what you're doing. It means that you've done your job, because our job as actors is to tell a story. And, we're telling Anthony's story at this point, and, what he has to go through, and to see the audiences reacting and saying, I understand that story. I agree with Jeff completely. That catharsis is really good. I think it's very good for them. They really appreciate it. And I didn't have anybody come through and say, I regret coming to see this show, because it made me think of, this. Everybody was very, thank you for telling this story. Thank you for all of this stuff. And when we went to talk back, one of the things that Terry, one of the questions she asked was, who here has been touched by, dementia in their lives? And most, if not all of them, kind of raised their hand. Were like, and I think most, if not all of the cast did too. I know my grandfather had dementia when I was in middle school. So I understood a lot of what, was going on
Yeah.
there. We've all been there and seen that. And it's nice to get that story out there. And it's nice to see that it helped somebody or it made somebody feel better for their situation.
Sure. Oh gosh, for sure. Gabe, one of our ALT warriors, says absolutely phenomenal job by all. So impactful. I agree, Gabe. Very, very impactful. Impactful performances and just an impactful story to tell. This show, we selected it kind of late in the game, and we were excited that it was going to be a strong show for us, and it just fits right in the adventure space. It has that intimate kind of feeling with how close the audience is, and without giving anything away, there's a couple of moments where the audience understands. Maybe they're confused by an actor that comes in and out, or a scene, and when they understand the concept then of the show, you could hear an almost audible gasp of, "Oh, we're now in on what the confusion is." If they've never read it or seen the movie or different things like that, and I think that that's important to have those moments in theater where, we all know how certain stories end. We've seen Elf, we know, oh, Clue, we know this or that. And so to go into the theater, maybe not knowing a full story, and having that kind of instant reaction to moments, I think is really healthy for us to have as an audience member. I know this show, it seems like it's really this heavy show, which it of course is, but there's so much levity to it as well. There's so much humor, and I think that's what people are also surprised with. There are some laugh out loud moments in this show, whether it be Jeffrey and his suspicion of who's gonna take a watch from him, and who he suspects in the room of characters, or whether it just be the family interaction. I think sometimes we forget how funny those situations can be, and how uncomfortable sometimes it is. That humor can help with that. Were you guys surprised how the audience would react with the humor in the show at all? I mean, were you expecting that? Were you hopeful for it? Were you, that's always something that I think sometimes can pop up and surprise actors.
I think, and with dramas, with really heavy dramas that deal with serious subject matter, that are very, obtuse and very in your face on those things, the audience will latch on to those tiny little humorous moments. So, I mean, if you've never seen a big heavy drama like The Father, they will take those little happy moments and they will laugh at them and be so grateful for them, and you'll hear it just go through the audience.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you don't, like, even Shakespeare had humor in his tragedies, because if you don't, you're like, what am I watching? Oh my God.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we knew it was there. We just really wanted to communicate it well so that they would see it and find it, because they need that tension relief. And
completely.
There were a few surprises, but most of the time I was going, boy, I hope they think this is funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just one moment, again, not giving anything away, but there's a moment where Michael Newman, you just raise your hand, and it cracks me up every time I see it. It just is like one of the funniest moments where Jeffrey asks you a question and you're like, okay, like,
Yeah.
so what do you want from me? But okay. And what's so helpful with that too, I think, is you guys definitely have a strong ensemble, and you really do need to have a strong ensemble for the show because of the way it has to be, rehearsed and the ins and outs of timeline, if you will, that you guys could really rely on each other. And then Jeffrey, you play a character that is confused all the time. So I feel like it's like the actor's gift, because at any point, if you actually do get confused, we would never know. The audience would never know, because it just goes with the character. I think that's a random silver. Exactly. Yes. Or just constantly be like, who am I? Where are we? What am I doing? I think that's always a fun challenge. the show, audiences have come and seen it, but we still have another weekend. Who would you guys both recommend to see the show? I mean, it's a PG-13 show. There's no language. There's no vulgar aspects of the show. It just deals with a heavy subject matter. That's why it's PG-13. But who would you recommend coming to see the show?
I can't think of people who should. I mean, if you've dealt with this in your life, if someone in your family has dealt with this, this is going to be something you kind of want to see because it's cathartic. It makes you appreciate, what they went through, but also appreciate the times that you had them when it wasn't that, when you weren't dealing with it anymore, and, kind of see things from their perspective and hopefully gain a little peace from that. I think that's where I would come from on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say, and even if you haven't had to deal with this, or even like high school age academy kids or something like that who probably don't even know what this is, maybe. And they might have dealt with it. But even if you haven't, odds are you will in your life. You will deal with this. And so it might help you see that side. I think a lot of people that came through who have dealt with it felt like a sense of they get me. They get what I've been through.
Yeah.
Because the family are, everybody, it's like Anthony's the tragic character, but Anne is also a tragic character because she's been dealing with this all by herself for however long.
Yeah.
And he's incapable of being appreciative of that. And that's got to be exhausting.
One of my favorite lines, without giving anything away, is, and I think it's a line that people need to hear, and that line is, "You have nothing to feel guilty about."
Yep.
Because I think there's a lot of people who, they like that get in a situation and, they take blame, and there's no blame to be put around here. There's nothing. And, we're all on this planet. We all got to make tough decisions. We all got to deal with difficult things.
I love that.
Real thing that I saw in my practice where you're dealing with people who are chronically ill, and most often it's a parent. I've lost both of my parents, so they reach an age where they can't do anything for themselves anymore. They have a chronic illness. They're miserable, and dementia is even harder because sometimes they're not physically disabled, but you've already lost them, and you have this cognitive dissonance of loving them, but thoughts of, I wish they would just die. Because they'll be better off, and I'll certainly be better off. And then you feel guilty about even having that thought.
Right.
And that is something that is difficult for human beings to do, is feel guilty for just a thought.
You're right. Yeah. Oh,
they
very
would never
true.
carry out, but and then and your mother or your dad says something horrible to you because their filters are gone, and yet you got to go change their diaper, that kind of stuff. And you just, and you just wish it would be over. And then you feel guilty for wishing it would be over.
Yeah.
And then it's hard. It's a hard thing. And all of us will face it.
Yeah. In some form or fashion. Very true.
Yep.
Jonathan Mulvey says, everyone does a great job tackling one of the actor's biggest challenges. Scenes and dialogue that are very similar, but just different enough to be confusing. Talk to me about that challenge of, especially Michael, coming in later than everyone else. And Jeffrey, you have most of the show on your shoulders. There's, I think, one scene that you're not in, that just has, one actress that's doing a bit of a monologue. But that's a lot to make sure you're like, wait, which section of the show are we in? Which version are we doing? How was that for you guys both?
It took me a minute to figure out, and it's largely because I hadn't read the script before, up until I literally got it and went in to go do a part. one of the biggest things that took me a second to figure out was that what we're seeing, a majority of like probably maybe 50-60% of the show takes place on the same day, but it repeats itself back and forth. Like you come back and do it again, then you come back and, you know, you see a little bit before that, and you come and you see a little bit after that. But, you know, it takes place in a 24-hour span where we're trying to do something where, and I'm not going to say anything for plot reasons. I think you should come see it. But, you know, once you kind of see it, you're like, oh my God, this didn't happen over a long period of time. This was something that, you know, we get to see an event, and we get to see it from his perspective, or at least some perspective of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Yeah.
just those,
Gosh, that's
some
so
of those
true.
lines that in one scene you say it one way, and then there'll be like a 1 or 2 word difference of the exact same line the next time, 4 scenes later, when it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
And just kind of just those French writers, I tell you.
Yeah. One of the challenges that we have is that we have to do it the same way every time, because this is the same event over, you know, just happening again. And we have to do the same blocking. We have to do the same cadence in our voice. Me and Bobby actually share a line, and I won't tell you why, but we do. And we had to like get together and be like, so how, and I actually went to him, I was like, okay, so how are you doing this exactly? Because you've been doing it a while, and I want to get kind of there and, you know, play with it kind of the way you are out there.
And interestingly enough, it's almost a show that in a weird way you could have divided it up and rehearsed it in an order before it got broken up and then changed out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Jeffrey Pickens.
Hey.
Jeffrey went in and out. There she is. There he is. Your phone is the father right now going, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, or my crummy internet, one of those.
No worries. But the show could have been, you know, in a weird way rehearsed in a linear way, and then broken back up and you know, switched around and things like that. I just love that the way that this show is written and the theatrical aspect of it, because it does put you in a perspective and think differently about the subject matter. And I think that's what theater should do. It should make us, you know, of course, entertain and educate and enlighten as well. And I think that the show definitely does that. What has been one of your favorite things about this show, or maybe favorite thing about this process? Obviously, Michael, you had a shorter process than the rest of the cast, but what's something that you will take away from the show that you're just, you know, that maybe was one of your favorite elements or your favorite thing about rehearsals or performances so far?
For me, I got to work with some new people that I'd never worked with before. In fact, all 3 of the women I'd never worked with before. Jackie and I were both swings on Murder on the Orient Express, but I'd worked with Bobby and I'd worked with Michael, and but you know, for me, one of the biggest neat things about theater is the relationships you form, and sometimes casts are, you know, there's not a lot of chemistry. Just frankly, there's not. I trust. This was a show that required us to trust each other and rely on each other in a big way. In very, unlike most shows I've been in, and I have never doubted that trust, and I've never doubted my castmates. I go into every scene knowing that we're going to get in there and get out of it alive, without falling apart. And having that kind of trust and building that kind of trust and confidence in each other is one of the magic things about theater. And you know, when they brought Michael in, I'd worked with Michael before, and I just went, I'm not worried about that at all. I knew
he was your grandson.
That's right.
I love that. It's very true. What about you, Michael?
I love getting to work with new people. That is really, really great. And I don't want to take anything away from it. I've loved getting to know Jenny and work with her. I think she's fantastic. But I think one of the things that I really enjoy, and this is just kind of upset, is getting to work with people I haven't gotten to work with in a long time. Like Jackie and I go back, like way back, like college back. And it's been a really long time since I've worked with her directly on stage. We were in Clue together, but because of her playing Scarlet, me playing, we never interacted ever.
Yeah.
So it's like I never actually got to work with her. And then the same thing, she was a swing and murder, and I only got to work with her like the one time that she had to step in. And it's so nice to get to come back and work with these people again, and be in the rehearsal process. I haven't worked with Bobby since, oh my God, I think it was Mousetrap when he directed Mousetrap, and it was really nice to get to come in and work with him again. And just that whole that getting to experience some of those people that you miss it was really nice. I wasn't planning on this. This wasn't on my radar. And I'm honestly kind of grateful for the phone call. So
Yeah, I love that. Two of your fellow cast members, Sarah says, I've had many come and watch and have been so glad that those most hesitant have been so glad they came to see it. Grateful for ALT and for the support of community theater that this little city brings out. Very true, Sarah. That's so good to hear that those who have been hesitant have been very happy that they came to see it. And then the other cast member there, Jackie, says, I absolutely love getting to work with these people. Such a special cast. Oh, then Sarah says, such a special cast director team. I agree with Jeffrey Pickens. So kind, so welcoming, and strong. All the love. Look at all that good love. You guys.
And I'll say that to anybody who is watching this right now who's never done a show at ALT and is like, I just don't know. This is the single most welcoming group you're going to come across. We make it a point when we have new people, we're going to bubble wrap you and take good care of you.
It's so true. It's so true. We're like immediately hugging, welcome to the family, all the good things. Yeah. I love it. I love that. Well, we want everyone to come see the final production or final weekend of this fabulous, fabulous production. Of course, we want to remind you, The Father, April 13th through the 23rd. That is tonight at 7:30. Then, of course, Friday and Saturday, 8 o'clock, and then that final Sunday matinee at 2:30. We want to remind everyone the Adventure Space opens 30 minutes beforehand. So even if you are looking to get tickets and the box office is already closed, you can swing by the ALT Adventure Space box office. That is where this show is. Of course, the Adventure Space, 2751 Civic Circle. But you can always call our box office, 806-355-9991, or visit our website at any point to purchase tickets for the show. One of our other amazing ALT warriors says, I agree, talking about all the good things going on at ALT. So true, so true. Well, Jeffrey and Michael, thank you guys both for being on Thursdays at 3 today. Also have a great final weekend of the show. Isn't it crazy how you work, and then it goes up and it's like, wait, we're already in the final weekend? Like, this is crazy.
I can mark this on my list of things. This is the shortest preparation and run from start to finish I've ever done.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. Oh, well, we're very appreciative of you saying yes, and appreciative of Stacy, your wife, saying yes as well. Yeah. And then Jeffrey, I was going to say for you, I bet you it's been with this type of show, especially how you were talking about, with your line of work and stuff like that, another show where you can combine your two passions, you know what I mean? Theater and what you did for a living, with being a doctor, for being able to kind of be there for people and understand that. And so I love that you had this type of show for you to kind of combine both of those worlds. So you've done a phenomenal job with this role. Michael, of course, stepping in as well, doing a great job, and feeling like you've been rehearsing with everyone for so long. I cannot recommend this show more. For all of you who might be on the fence, come. I promise you're going to love the show. You're going to have such a whether it be if you've had somebody in your past or know somebody who's maybe has this illness, you're gonna be really happy, like Sarah said, that you've come to see the show. Like Jeffrey has mentioned, everyone who's been hesitant has been really happy that they've come. So I want to say, come see the show. We'll hopefully see you this weekend. And Sarah, just to confirm, Sarah says she's been bubble wrapped. So, as the newcomer of ALT, she's been bubble wrapped. I love that. But again, break a leg tonight, guys. We appreciate all of your time and energy that you spend at ALT and all that you do for the theater. and so excited to see the final weekend of the show. And then everyone else, don't forget all the things I mentioned before. We want to remind you, of course, if you want to come help out with work, call. If you want to come and usher or work concession for the Father and stay and see the show for free, let us know. We also, of course, want to remind you, beautiful gala, just a week and a half away. That's right, next Saturday, the 29th. And then, of course, public tickets go on sale, I forgot to mention earlier, for Beautiful on this coming Monday. So a lot of things going on at the theater as we wrap up. And then again, Break a Leg, show choir. You guys are going to be awesome.
Yes.
Awesome down in Orlando. We can't wait to hear how well you guys do down there. So Michael, Jeffrey, love you guys both. We'll see you guys at the theater soon. We'll see everyone else either this weekend at ALT or next week at Thursdays at 3. Bye, y'all.
Okay, thank you.